You're listening to The Bon Marie Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to The Bon Marie Show on Irish News Radio or ITV.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews.net. The Bon Marie Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. And today we're going to have a quick chat about what's going on in Ireland. It'll be a quicker chat than normal on our shows. But I'm just reading through the papers. The Green Party, absolutely disgraceful, disgusting, like the rest of our government. They want immigration until Ireland has reached 10 million. 10 million. So the Irish indigenous race will be a minority in their own land. Now, we have had generations of young, talented, amazing people having forced immigration because we didn't have the resources to keep them. What's going to happen when there's 10 million and the Irish indigenous race are minority and they're being discriminated for? That there's a push for their homes, there's a push for their jobs, there's a push for everything that should be rightfully theirs is being taken from them. And the most amazing, young, talented, fabulous Irish are having to be forced out like generations before. But this time, because the horrific government has decided it doesn't like the Irish race. They don't like the Irish culture. They don't like the Irish heritage. They don't want Irish history to be taught in school. They don't want the language. They don't want anything to do with the Celtic race. So they flood us so we become a minority. And the young, talented have to leave the shores again. It's absolutely heartbreaking when generations were forced to migrate, left a broken island that's still deep in our soil and in the ground of tears and in the empty buildings, the abandoned houses around the country. When you can actually feel the tears and swearing that they will return to their home, to their land. And having to be forced, you can even see it with the American Irish, that they were left kind of, part of them is missing because they were forced to leave the land that they love, a land of their culture, their identity. And they went to make a life for money, swearing they'd come back, and maybe a few generations they came back to visit, but left a deep, broken island. And you can very much feel it when you're in Connemara and you're walking through. You can almost feel the pain and the heartache in the soil of the ground. So this is going to be a forced genocide on the Irish people that the government is doing. It is so, so heartbreaking. It'll be in my lifetime, which is really, really sad that we're living in the end of Ireland. And if there's nothing done, if we have no government for the Irish, which we don't, it's happening very quickly. More towns you go through, the less and less Irish they are. And they're being forced out. There's different countries like Canada now offering for Irish to come in to them, and trying to take our youth. It's like a complete get the Irish from Ireland, and the Irish government is forcing the Irish out of Ireland. It is horrible. It's a genocide. It's heartbreaking from the leftist scum running this country into the ground and forcing Irish to leave. It's leftist scum parties as the destruction of this. Our forefathers, our ancestors, would be sick to the stomach turning what government, how the Irish are blind to see what their government is doing, what generations after generations fought for. And without a bullet, they've handed over everything, and they don't like anything that their generations had fought to save and to protect our culture, our language, our dance, our heritage. Everything is being forced out, where we will no longer have Irish in schools. We'll no longer have Irish histories. I think most people don't even get taught Irish history now. They will have nothing of an identity of an ancient land and an ancient people that's long gone. We are living in the last days of true Irish blood. And possibly my children's generation, they are the last that will actually have true Irish blood and Irish identity. The rest will have no blood or little of Irish blood, and certainly no heritage or knowledge of the people that went before them. It is a very, very sad, heartbreaking time. The destruction of the native race is well on its way. Calling it growing population when it's nothing to do with an Irish population, it's mainly Islamic. Islamic and African countries have nothing to do with the Irish blood, the Irish heritage, the Irish culture, the Irish language, the Irish way of life. They have a very different way of a life. And that life will become stronger in Ireland than the Irish way of life. That will overtake our way. So suddenly, Ireland will look and be like a North African country. When you bring the third world into your country, you become the third world. It will become a very Islamic country. It'll be very dangerous for women and children. Sharia law will be forced on the Irish indigenous population. They will be pushed further and further out. Arabic will be pushed on the native Irish people. At first, it'll be a suggestion. Then it'll be a forced. The bankings will become Islamic. Every single thing will become Islamic. The mosques will become mosques. The churches will become mosques. Priests and other Christians in this country will be terrorized. And that is our future. Have a look at any country Islam has gone into. Look at Iran, look at Iraq, look at Afghanistan, look at Lebanon. Look at how the Christians are treated once they become a majority. And with this government talking about 10 million, and they are mainly Islamic, the majority in this country in a very short time will be Islamic. And that means all Arabic will be taught and forced on the indigenous population until either the indigenous population can flee if they still can, or die, or be forced to become Islamic. And everything about the Irish culture, like Iran or any of those other countries, is buried deep, so nobody even remembers what the original Iranian language, the Farsi, was about, or their way of life, or who those people were before Islam came through. And that is a very sad situation, and that is Ireland, and it's very much on its way through this criminal, treacherous government that should be put against a wall and shot. Thank you for listening on the Bonry Show. It is scary times. Please, people, share this. Get up, get out, and get talking, get moving. Start fighting back. Say no. If we want a population increase, let's take back the Irish that have left this country. Let's bring back our brilliant, young, talented people. Stop bringing in African Islamics that are putting danger on our women and children. Stop it. We want the Irish back. They have a right to our land. They are right, because this is their land, this is our land. It belongs to the Irish indigenous population. It belongs to us as people, as the Irish race. It doesn't belong to any other race. It never has. It belongs a land for Irish ways, for Irish people, Irish culture, Irish language, Irish history, Irish heritage. This is the land of the Irish people. And if you don't get up and fight, there is nobody coming. For generations, the Irish fought. This generation, you will be the ones to lose this country without even a bullet, because you didn't recognise the enemy. And they're very much the enemy. Thank you again for listening on the Bonry Show. Get out, get active, get talking, get moving. This is the end. My children will be living in the last days of Ireland, and they will be forced out, and your children will be forced out. This criminal government gets its way.
You are listening to Irish News Radio and irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.